This is another Poet at War General Report. And here's your General, Joshua David Ling.
Good luck.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your General, back with another General's Report. I know you just heard that from the announcers, but I wanted to say it again. I had a very interesting thing happen to me. Was it last week or the week before? I can't exactly remember, but it's one of those two. If you're listening to this way ahead of schedule, as far, or not ahead, but in the future, this is July 4th week. I decided to wear my Stars and Stripes shirt. The thing that happened was I was looking into a game. Actually, a couple games, a game series, if you will, that my father played growing up. When I was growing up. Not him. But when I was growing up, he would play this game, and I'd see him play it on the computer. Some of you may be familiar with it. Some of you may have just seen the box or know that it's a thing in gaming over the years. But the more popular of the series is the original, Myst. And the second game is Riven. So they are sort of these esoteric puzzle games. They're sort of interesting. And my father really kind of got into them because he was into progressive rock, and a lot of the locations in the game and the box art and all things of that nature really reminded him of a lot of progressive rock albums. If you look at things like The Ladder by Yes, their album cover for that, and some of the other various albums from Yes and Genesis and Led Zeppelin, those sorts of vibes and feels really spoke to my dad from a very early age, and continued on through his life as he read Narnia and took us to see Lord of the Rings and all the other stuff that I've talked about many times before on the General's Report. What I remember from the games is that he would kind of explain these stories to me a little bit, but that they were he didn't go into detail. It was always very just like, this guy is that, and that guy is that, and I'm trying to figure out this puzzle, and blah, blah, blah. And part of that is I was 7 and couldn't really comprehend all of the plot. But the other half of it was my dad never really practiced explaining stories. And so you probably experienced this before. It sort of balloons in your mind, and you're not sure what details are important to tell and what are not, that sort of a thing. And so I remember him really liking the games. I remember him showing me various things that he thought were funny, particularly from Riven. He played Riven a lot. Riven was his favorite. He would constantly speak of Riven years to come as I grew up, talking about how much he loved Riven. I remember there was a bad guy, and he had a trap to catch frogs, and he actually ground up the frogs and smoked them. I remembered that, and I remembered there was this whale-like creature called a wark. It was a whale shark thingy. Not a whale shark, but a whale shark hybrid thingy that got angry when you called it too many times in this interesting situation where you could essentially like summon him, and he would kind of ram this underwater almost like a submarine, but it's stationary, and he would ram the glass and be upset with you for calling him when you didn't have food. There were various things like that I remembered. He showed me some of the animals in the game, just these cool, weird animals and stuff like that. And for years, I kind of was like, I want to know more about this. And every time I would actually like look it up on Wikipedia or otherwise, I'd be like, none of this makes sense. There's far too much fluff and detail and lore in the way things are written down by everyone who plays these games, and that's not necessarily their fault. I mean, the important part of the game, in a very real sense, are puzzles, more so than the story. Well, not more so, but it's very much a game where you're exploring and finding things out. and piecing together the story rather than the story being slowly unfolded to you in a linear fashion over time. And so I decided that I was going to watch a blind Let's Play of Myst, which that one was edited and a little bit shorter. And then a full, actual, complete blind Let's Play of Riven, because that was my dad's. He liked that game more. I remember him playing both, but he loved Riven much more, and specifically told me that many times. So I wanted to dig into Riven for personal reasons, and I wanted to find what made the story so good, because I knew he loved the story, not just the puzzles. And I wanted to know what made it so good so that I could take from it what I can. I'm a storyteller. I'm interested in craft, right? So there's going to be some spoilers for the games when I talk about this. I'm going to talk about a lot of the story, but hopefully this is a thing where if you're not that into puzzle games, you can appreciate it and move forward. If not, you can move ahead to the next thing. You know, if you're listening to Poets at War, you can move ahead to our main feature show. But here's the deal. Myst is a story where you are a stranger. It's just you, your self-insert character. Fall onto this island and start searching around trying to figure stuff out. As you research this island with all kinds of weird things on it, like spaceships and observatories and dentist chairs, you eventually find out that there's a library where two men are sealed away in books. These books are other dimensions that were written by their father, Atris, who sealed them away because they were destroying his library. Or it seems, because both of them claim that the other one was destroying the library and that you should set them free. Their names are Cirrus and Akanar. Or Akatar. Is it Akatar or Akanar? Anyway, one of those two. I'll say Akanar and stick with that for now. So Cirrus and Akanar, they are the sons of this guy Atris, and you start to find a few notes from Atris in various places, and essentially you start giving them pages to their book that allows you to hear more of their story. It actually fixes some of the static that is in the book that keeps you from being able to see them and hear what they have to say. And eventually you kind of have to make a decision, this guy or that guy. However, they warn you that the last pages, there is amongst the last pages, blue and red, there is a book that is green, and you should not touch that book because it's a prison book, just like the ones that they're trapped in. So you go and you talk to another guy who happens to be in the green book, who is Atris, and he is trapped, but he says, go get this page, and then we can both cut out together. Come into this age and help me out, and we can get out together and seal my sons away because they are both evil. And you do so, save the day, and he mentions he might know a way to get you back to where you came from. That is Myst in a very quick nutshell. Interesting game, cool idea. It's sort of this steampunky sort of world, and it's a meta commentary on the idea that of basically these, what do you call them? These people, Atris and his sons, they write these books that they call ages. They're really worlds, but just work with me here. They call them ages. And these ages serve as levels in Myst that you go and you find the pages and you bring them back. It's sort of a meta commentary on the creation of other worlds for video games and for stories, and how we write these things. Also, there are descriptive books which actually hold all the data of this world, and then linking books which actually will take you into the world. And so it's sort of like hyperlinking, right? The web pulls up various data from the descriptive hard drives, the places, right? Whereas the linking books are the things that actually take you into the place. So that's a thing that needs to be mentioned. Also, if you go into one of these prison books and there's someone else in it, it kicks that person out. So those are just some interesting mechanics that we need to know going forward. The only way you would know about the prison book thing is if you ended up in the prison book without a way out, with one of the bad endings in Myst, right? Because it has bad endings. It's not just one ending. It has some bad alternate endings where you lose, essentially. So, with that being said, we move on to Riven. Now, Riven begins with Atris basically giving you a journal with some stories and stuff, and that's the other thing about this book. Not books, these stories. They have books that take 45 minutes to read. It's really crazy, like the level of research you have to go through. He says that his father, Gen, is the name of the father, has taken his wife Catherine hostage on this place called Riven, where he is trapped. It is not a normal prison book, but he has no actual way off of this island. It's actually 5 islands. They're breaking apart because the world is slowly collapsing into a thing called the Starfisher. Basically, think like a black hole that's part of the world, right? And so Gen is seeking to keep Catherine and figure out a way back to Atris, either for revenge or for ultimately reconciliation, one way or the other. We don't really know, but Atris seems to think Gen is evil and wants Catherine back. He gives us a prison book to trap Gen, and he wants, and he says, you need to find a way to signal me when you and Catherine need to come home, because we can't risk sending a linking book with you to Riven. Otherwise, Gen will undoubtedly figure a way to use it and get out, because he's very smart. So, basically, Catherine, he believes Catherine will know a way to signal us once she is saved. A lot of beginning stuff. Basically, on this island, there are people who are the vassals of Gen, who worship him and believe that he is some all-powerful being over their world, when he himself actually is not as good as Atris, and even has some weird heresies in the way of the art of writing these books, and doesn't really understand why he can't just create another linking book back to Atris's world. So essentially, you go through all these puzzles, you try and figure things out, you see this world for what it is, you find out that there's this rebel group that is on a separate age called Tay. And Tay is this interesting space. If you've ever seen the cover for the game Riven, that is actually Tay, not Riven. But they are trying to find a way to exit everyone off of Riven and save everyone in Riven. They're working to save the people of Riven. And Catherine became sort of this savior character to them, even though she thinks it's kind of repulsive. So basically, you wander around the island, you figure stuff out. There's a lot of really, really hard esoteric puzzles that require a lot of outside-the-box thinking. It is incredible, some of the levels of mechanical interest that this game offers, and the whole world is just steeped in this lore of this one godlike character who creates books only to burn them over and over and over again. It's very fascinating, because he can never quite make it work. And so basically, you eventually find Catherine. You find you have to find a way to get her out of the cage she's in. You come across Gen, and he takes the prison book from you, thinking that it's a linking book, and is about to go ahead and link into it, but he says, no, you first. And the only way forward is actually to go into the prison book, call his bluff, and then have him come in and kick you out automatically, because Atris wrote the book that way. So very, very fascinating way to trap the bad guy. You trap the bad guy, you get Catherine, you go, and she says the only way that we're going to be able to signal Atris because Atris is currently writing the Book of Riven, trying to repair all the damage of the world collapsing into this starfisher. The only way that we're going to be able to signal Atris is if we collapse the starfisher. If we manually collapse the starfisher so that Riven is destroyed. And so she works on getting everybody to Tay with the rebels, and then comes to you and has you signal Atris. And the crazy thing is, I'm going to pull this up as I'm doing it. The amazing thing about this game, that, and the whole reason I'm talking about this, is the ending. The story's great, don't get me wrong. I was very blown away by it. I thought it was cool, it was interesting. But the ending absolutely broke me. So we're going to get to it. I'm going to read it in script form, transcript form. Atris links in to Riven and runs up to you. There isn't much time. Where's Catherine? Where's the book? I don't Atris! Calls Catherine. Catherine appears from around the corner. Atris turns and embraces her. Catherine hands Atris the prison book and walks up to you. The villagers are safe in the rebel age. I thank you. As do I. You've accomplished more than I could have hoped for. You've given me back my life. The path home is now clear for all of us. As a rumbling in the earth gets their attention, Atris pulls the linking book from his pack, opens it, and holds it out to Catherine. She puts her hand on his face for a brief moment and then links back to Dunny, which is their homeworld. Atris closes the book and turns back to you. This is where our paths must part. Perhaps we'll meet again someday. You know where to find me. Atris walks over to the fisher and opens the linking book again. He turns back to you, and it doesn't say this, but he kind of gives a wink. He says, "Goodbye, my friend." Atris links out, and the linking book falls into the fissure. Without warning, the ground beneath you collapses, and you begin to fall. Now here comes the really cool part. Myst, Atris says this, but it's a little bit weird. The reason he let you fall into the fissure is because the reason the Myst book, which is what links to the world of Myst, the first game, the reason it came to Earth is because it fell through the starfisher. So he thinks that it may take you back to your world, and it's your best chance of getting there. That's why he let you fall and didn't let you link out. Atris's voiceover starts to play as you're tumbling headlong into the starfisher, into this crazy cosmic space of stars after you've taken this blind leap into the dark. He says, "Now I understand. Endings and beginnings are within the fissure. That riven cleft of stars that acts as both a wall and a bridge. And though I am unable to understand now, the very flow of stars that brought my Myst book into worthy hands, I am sure served as a safe passage home for my friend. The age of Riven is closed forever, but the people of Riven are free. And now I am at rest, understanding that in books and ages and life, the ending can never truly be written." And so, that is how Riven ends. And the concept of that last quote, in books, in ages, and in life, the ending can never truly be written. You know, the Bible says that eternity is put into the heart of man. And yes, eternity is put into our hearts so that we will know him. But we forget sometimes that he is the infinite one. And in him are all good gifts. And as we move forward in this world, we're going to encounter so many weird esoteric puzzles and scream at the sky, what does this mean? What does this mean? And we're not going to have all the answers. And sometimes we have to take a blind leap of faith into the dark, knowing that he will save us. I know now why my dad loved this story. I hope you will too, regardless of whether you ever attempt to play these games or not. It's a wonderful story, and it rings incredibly true. I know I'm going to be taking a lot from this for a project that I'm working on within the world of courage. But you guys, really and truly, the ending can never truly be written. Love to talk more about this with you if you have a chance. You know where to find me, my website, joshuadavidling.com. There's a contact link up in the corner. Also, with the upcoming episode of Poets at War, Burnt Marshwiggle, Operation Burnt Marshwiggle, we had some audio issues with Brendan, but he is only 1/3 of the conversation, if that. And so it turned out a little bit weird. We didn't know at the time, and you're going to have some issues, but I wanted to present it as it is because it was still a very good conversation and very well presented by Ian Wilson. So this is our discussion on Edgar Rice Burroughs. For those of you who are just listening to the General's report, be your family's bard. Do not turn to the right or to the left, and the Lord will be with you wherever you go. We'll see you next time in the trenches on Poets at War.